What's up everybody, Jack of Many Trades back here again with another video, and today we're going to be taking another look at a product that I featured pretty heavily on my channel, which is the Nreal Air. So I've gotten a lot of questions about who this product is for, what it can do, what it can't do, and why you would want it over something like, say, the Valve Index or any of the Meta Quest products, like the brand new Quest Pro that's just coming out. And really, that comes down to a couple of reasons. These are not for everybody, but if they are for you, these are definitely going to be a good pickup for you. And so in this video, I want to help you guys to figure out if this is something that you should invest in, or if it's something that you'd be better off passing on. So without further ado, let's get into a couple of use cases. I'm going to be splitting this up into a couple of parts. The first part, I'm going to be going back over all of the things that you get in the box with the Nreal Air, in case you guys don't want to go back and watch my original review video. There's a lot of things that have kind of changed since then, so I figure I'll throw this into this video. In that part, I'll also talk a little bit about the prescription lenses and other things, how it looks on the face. And then in the next part, we're going to be going over how these work for the Steam Deck on the latest beta build of the SteamOS. The next part, I'm going to be discussing how the Nreal Air works with a MacBook connected up to an external display. Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? And I'll also discuss a couple of use cases where these may be the best device for you. And then I'm going to go over how these work with the iPad Pro for watching movies in particular. With the iPad Pro, since they've removed the external monitor support from iPadOS 16. It's going to be a little bit less useful than it was in my original review. And then in the final part, we're going to be discussing how the Nreal Air compares with the Valve Index. As well, we're going to be going over some of the screen size issues, because a lot of you have brought up questions saying that, I said that the screen size looks like it's about 70 to 80 inches, but the website says 200. So I'm going to be discussing further what exactly I mean by that and how screen size changes with perspective. And just so you guys know, I'm going to be leaving timestamps down below, so you can check there. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so here's everything that you get in the box. You have your box, of course. You also get a really nice carrying case, so it says Nreal on the top of it. This will keep your glasses protected. It's a little bit hard shell. On the inside, it has microfiber lining. And down in here, you have a little compartment that you can store the included cable, which they say to only use this cable. You can really use any USB-C cable as long as it is full-featured. It must support DisplayPort output, otherwise these are not going to work. And you also have your microfiber cleaning cloth, so that way you can keep the lenses clean. And so you can store all of that underneath here. You also get, of course, the Nreal Air. And so you can put that in there and zip it up. They also give you this, which is a light shield. This is really useful for getting the most out of the OLED displays. The Nreal Air has two micro OLED displays, each at 1080p. And so when you use this light shield, it'll block out all light coming in, and so you'll get that really great contrast that OLED is known for. So definitely be sure to use this. Additionally, if you're doing work in a public place, put this on and it will basically block out anybody's ability to see what you're doing on the front, since the front of these, when they're on, does actually show a little bit of light. People aren't really going to be able to see what you're doing, but they'll see that you have a display on in front of you, so if you're conscious about that, definitely use the light shield. Additionally, you get two nose pieces, so if the glasses don't fit right on your face, you can use these and adjust the height. And here is one of the most interesting things that you get in the box, which is the lens adapter. So I've gotten a lot of questions about these. I do not have lenses made for my prescription just yet. I haven't gotten around to actually having them made, but what you would do is take your prescription to an optician and have them send these along with your prescription out to a lens crafter. They will produce your lenses and drill the two small holes needed on each lens to mount these. And when you get them back, all you have to do is just follow the instructions that Nreal gives on how to mount these things, but basically they mount as a part of the nose piece, and then it'll clip into the device itself, allowing you to not have to wear your glasses the whole time. Like I said, since I don't have them made, this doesn't really work for me at the moment, but if you do get them made, this is essentially what it's going to look like. You will have your lenses sitting right behind the optics used to project the display. It'll definitely be a little bit nicer than having to wear glasses behind the Nreal Airs as I've been doing, but both ways will work. It's just that wearing your glasses behind these pushes them out a little bit further, as I'll show you guys. I wear my prescription glasses behind the Nreal Airs. So this is what it looks like if you are going to be in that same situation. There's a little bit of separation from my eye to my regular glasses, and then there's even more separation to the Nreal Airs. So when you wear these with glasses behind, it pushes the Nreal Airs out a little bit further. And that is the reason why I have this piece of tape positioned right here on the bridge. This is a proximity sensor, and so I just need to cover this up, and that will keep the display on forever pretty much. So as long as these are plugged into a display and outputting, I will be able to see what's going on. If you don't have this piece of tape here, the display will kind of flicker a little bit, and so that'll get really distracting. So if you are in a similar situation where you have to use your prescription lenses and can't get the adapter made fast, definitely be sure to do that. Alright, so here we are on the Valve Steam Deck. Just so that way you guys know, I am using the D-brand kill switch on this. So that's why my Steam Deck looks perhaps a little bit different than yours. It's just the case and, of course, the teardown skin. This is what I have installed on it with these Portal-themed grip sticks. But other than that, this Steam Deck is pretty much stock. I do have the Decky plugin manager installed, so the colors may be a little bit different on mine than yours, but all else is pretty much the same. So as you can see here, we have Gotham Knights pulled up on the menu. So this is a game that was released not too long ago. And as you can see, on this 7-inch display, it's not a bad experience. You can definitely get by playing like this. But I will say that, you know, if you are somebody who's used to playing on a larger display, maybe you play your console on a TV, or if you are somebody who likes to play PC games and you have a large monitor at home, if you take the Steam Deck out, this is going to seem like a pretty small display to you. So this is kind of the main use case that I got the Nreal Airs for, and it's something that I use fairly frequently. It's also really great because the Steam Deck is not a super heavy device, but especially if you're playing in bed, having to hold this over your face, it's going to get tiring very quickly. So the Nreal Air really solves a lot of those problems by allowing you to wear the display on your face. And in addition to wearing the display on your face, taking a lot of the strain off of your neck, you also end up with a situation where you have a larger display to work with. And so both of those are really great things and will help you out quite a bit with the Steam Deck, I think, and elevate the experience, especially if you're traveling. So to connect the Nreal Air to the Steam Deck, all you have to do is simply take the USB-C cable that is included with the Airs, plug it into the top of your Steam Deck, and then plug the other end into the Nreal Air. Once you do that, you'll see the Steam Deck's main display goes black, and now you have a display inside of the Nreal Airs. And so one of the things that's a little bit difficult to show is what exactly this looks like inside of the Nreal Air. So you can kind of see some of the picture, I think, but it's really not going to do it justice watching this on a YouTube video. You really have to try this out for yourself. Alright, so to give you guys a little bit of perspective on what the Nreal Air display looks like versus the Steam Deck, I'm going to be overlaying some of the footage from the Steam Deck sort of scaled up to what I see. So what I see is that the display starts right about here, and it extends to just about here. So you're getting quite a large display difference between the Steam Deck and the Nreal Air. So the display is going to look quite a bit bigger to you, even at this very close distance. Alright, so one of the things that I also wanted to update you guys on is the changes that have been made to the Steam Deck and how it affects using the Nreal Airs now. So when you use these guys right here with your Steam Deck, it used to be the case that you could change the refresh rate slider here for the external monitor. In this case, it's the Nreal Air. But they have since actually removed your ability to do that, which in all actuality is a good thing, because it was a little bit confusing having a slider that didn't really do anything. And in fact, as I mentioned in my previous video, if you were to change the slider to, say, 40 and have your frame rate limit also set to 40, then your actual refresh rate of the Nreal Air would be only 20. So it would basically be half of what you expected. And now, since they actually have removed your ability to use the refresh rate frame limit for your display with the Nreal Air, now the frame rate limit actually works. So if you have it set to 40, if the game does support frame rate limiting from the Steam software, you will actually be able to get full 40 FPS. Same thing if you want it to be limited to 60 or anything else. You don't really have to worry about that anymore, so that's a really great new update that SteamOS has brought. Alright, so the next use case that I've been getting a lot of questions about is, what about if you're using a monitor like, say, an ultrawide? I have here an LG ultrawide. This is a 34-inch 2560 by 1080p display. So, say that you're doing some work. We'll just open up a Word document really quick here. Alright, so now you can see here I have pulled up on the left side a Word document, and on the right side I have Safari. So let's say that you're in a situation where you need to write a paper and do some research on the side. The ultrawide is going to be a great experience for you because you're going to be able to have what is essentially two monitors stacked side by side. And this is kind of one of the main ways that I like to work, and probably a lot of you guys as well like to work this way. And what I've been getting questions about is, could you use an ultra wide in addition to the Nreal Air as a way to get more work done? So basically you would have your MacBook docked on the side the way it is here with your ultra wide up, say a Word document and some research, and then maybe you also wanted to watch a YouTube video or something like that through the Nreal Airs while you were doing your work. What is that experience going to be like? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to show you guys kind of what the screen size is going to actually look like overlaid on this ultra wide. So like I said, you can't really show the Nreal Airs too well on video, but I can definitely show you guys how it's going to look by overlaying an image that has already been shown and just scaling it to what I see. And so, yeah, there's kind of two problems here. One is, as you can see through the lens, there's a little bit of chromatic aberration from the display behind you, so the ultra wide, and so that's going to make everything look a little bit funny. And then the other thing, like I said, is that your display in the Nreal Airs at a normal viewing distance for a monitor is going to be much smaller than even this 34-inch monitor. So it's really not going to be that great of an experience, and especially if you are using prescription glasses like I am behind the Nreal Airs, the text at the edges is going to look really fuzzy. Because the Nreal Airs sit so far in front of your face, the edges aren't going to really sharpen up the way that they would if you were a little bit closer. So overall, I don't really recommend using these for use with a MacBook sitting at a desk with a monitor already plugged in. You really don't get any benefits. But where this does come in handy is if you're sitting in an airport and you don't have access to your monitor that you would have at home. In that case, these are actually fantastic. As you can see here, you do get a little bit of that display showing through on the front, but even if somebody were to look directly in your eyes, they wouldn't really be able to see what you're doing. And so that's really a nice thing. For an airport, you can have full privacy and you don't have to worry about people spying on your work or anything. So that's really what I think these would be useful for. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is using the Nreal Airs with something like an iPad Pro 12.9 inch. As you can see here, this is what the iPad Pro display looks like just by itself. This is the mini LED version of the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, so there's really great contrast. It's not quite the level of OLED, but it is a really great experience for anybody who is interested in this iPad. As with anything that I mention in this video, I will be leaving links down in the description, so you can check these things out. They are also affiliate links, so if you do choose to buy anything on Amazon, or if you choose to buy something like a gimbal from DJI, I will get a small commission from that. But again, no pressure to buy anything. I am just showing you guys these products just so that way you get a sense of if they may be good for you or may not be. But again, if you're using an iPad like this, if you are on a flight, this is going to be a great experience for you. It is a big display, but if you want something a little bit bigger, a little bit more immersive, and you don't want somebody watching what you're watching, what you can do is you can use the Nreal Air. So if you simply just take the plug that is included with the Nreal Air, attach it to the back arm, and then plug in the cable to the iPad here, it will immediately start outputting your display into the Nreal Airs here. And again, I will overlay some of the images that were shown previously on top of this iPad so that way you can get a sense of what the display actually looks like from this perspective. The other thing that's really good to note about this is that when you use the Nreal Airs, because it is OLED, you get a really, really wide cinematic experience. And so that's kind of something that I think is really good, especially when you're watching movies. And this works with FaceTime if you want to use SharePlay. So this is through the Apple TV app. If you have movies on the Apple TV app and you want to do SharePlay with somebody, this will work for that. Also, a lot of people have asked me if you turning off the iPad display for watching movies can be done. In previous versions of iPadOS 16, this would work, but I am right now on iPadOS 16.2 developer beta, and they have actually removed that feature. So if you turn off the iPad display, the Nreal Air display will also turn off. Since they did have it working before, this may just be a bug, but just so that way you guys know, it may not always work that way in the future. All right, so the last part of this series is going to be on comparing the Nreal Air to the Valve Index. So as you can see here, I have the Valve Index in a case that I purchased for it to transport around the controllers, the headset, all of the cables, all of the plugs, all of the base stations, and base station stands. And as you can see here, these are completely different products, and so honestly, I don't think that they should really be compared. I mean, this right here is a pretty massive product, and the Nreal Air, as you could see before, sitting on top, it's significantly smaller. These accomplish two totally different purposes, and I don't really think that there's too much of a reason to compare them because they serve completely different purposes. In general, the Valve Index is for somebody who wants to have a completely immersive experience entirely separate from the real world, where the Nreal Air is for somebody who is more mobile, who wants to basically just carry a secondary screen with them and doesn't want to have a 16, 18, 20, or, however big monitor with them because that would be really heavy and it would be hard to transport. Plus, it would take a lot of power to even turn that on. All right, so as you can see here, we have the Valve Index in its case. Here's what one of the controllers looks like. As you can see, it charges via USB-C, and it can track your hands, it can track your fingers, it has thumbsticks, buttons, triggers, all of that good stuff. You get two of those. Here is the Valve Index itself. It has some speakers, which the Nreal Airs also have, but these are just much better. They sound more like you're having headphones next to your head. Additionally, this you can change how far the screen sits from your face. It's also a little bit heavier. And the other thing too is that here it's easy to get optics for these. So I got these lenses with my prescription from the VR optician, but there's many other companies out there that'll do this for you. Unlike the Nreal Air, it's a little bit more easy to get that. But the other thing about the Valve Index is that it can get a little bit hot because the screens refresh at 144 hertz and it's near 4K for the two eyes combined. And so it's a really high resolution display and it refreshes really fast. And so that takes a lot of power. So on the front here, I have a fan that'll kind of keep temperatures down. I've never had it overheat, but that is something to consider about the Valve Index. Also, the valve index you can't even use unless you have base station stands set up, and those require AC power, so that's 2 wall outlets that you need. Additionally, the headset itself needs AC power, where the Nreal Air, all you need is just the USB-C cable connecting to your device, and that's it. Um, like I said, the valve index is just a lot harder to set up. It does do a lot more. For instance, the valve index, you can watch 3D movies, you can play 3D games. Uh, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You can have as many virtual monitors as you want if you're doing work, but it's a totally different experience. You're going to be completely isolated from the world, and you're also going to be pretty much glued to your house. You can't really leave with this. But with the Nreal Air, they made it in such a way that it's light enough and simple enough to use that you can really take this thing anywhere with you and watch your content or work, from anywhere. And so I think that that's really one of the strong suits of the Nreal Air. And if you are looking to get this, I think that portability should be your primary concern. Do you want a portable experience? If so, get the Nreal Air. Do you want to be tethered to a computer and have really high power experience? Then go with something like the Valve Index. Or if you want to have a little bit of a hybrid between the two, the Quest Pro from Meta might be a good option. Although, just so that way you guys know, there is a huge disparity in price between the Air and any of these other headsets that I mentioned. In particular, the Nreal Air costs $379, where the Valve Index costs $1,000. And if you want to get the Quest Pro, that is going to cost you about $1,600. So there's really a large difference in price, and whether or not that's worth it for you is entirely up to you, but these are things that we should definitely be considering if you want to get one or the other. So the last point that I want to make about the Nreal Airs and their display is that the size of the display is 100% dependent on your perspective. Okay, so I have a 49-inch TV right behind me. All right, so you can see that. And if I'm sitting on this side of the room, it's about 6 feet away. If I have the Nreal Airs on my face, the display looks like what an 80-inch TV would look like if I were watching a movie. Okay, so the display extends from that bottom corner right there to about the top of the towel rack over here. Okay, so it's a really, really big display if your perspective is looking at a display that's far away. But if you're looking at a display that's close up, so say you're looking at a 16-inch MacBook Pro display like I did in my Your Questions Answered video, or you're looking at that ultra-wide display down there in the corner, and you are sitting about 1 foot to 2 feet away from that, your perspective is different, right? So 34 inches that close looks massive. But 48 inches, which is what this TV is, from 6 feet away, rather than 2 feet away, looks a lot different, right? And so Nreal is marketing this as a 200-inch display from 6 meters away. All right, so for anybody in the US who doesn't use the metric system or isn't used to that, that's about 18 feet, right? And so that's a really big distance. And a lot of people aren't going to have a good idea of what that distance means in real life. So I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of a more realistic, practical sense of what the screen is going to look like in different use cases at different distances. But again, you have to use your judgment, as to whether or not this is going to be a good product for you. I've shown you a couple of use cases that I find to be helpful, but these use cases are very niche. And, in some ways, something like a monitor like that LG over there, or a traditional TV may be a little bit better for you. But like I said, if you are somebody who travels a lot, who goes on airplanes, who needs a portable display, and you want something bigger and more immersive than just an iPad or a MacBook display, I think the Nreal Air provides a really good value. Also, if you're looking for more privacy when you're doing work on the go, the Nreal Air is really unparalleled in that department. You can't go wrong with it. Like I said, they are a little bit expensive at $379 for the glasses themselves. If you want the adapter that Nreal sells, that's about $60. So it is a bit of an investment, but if you do think after watching this video that this is a product that would fit your lifestyle, then definitely go ahead and pick these up. I do have affiliate links in the description below, so if you want to pick them up, please use those links. It does help out the channel a little bit. But again, no obligations to buy this. I'm not sponsored by Nreal. I'm just somebody who happens to have their product and wants to make videos about it to help you guys in your buying decisions, so that way you don't buy this for the wrong reasons, thinking that it's going to be the best display ever, or that it's going to be the best product ever that's going to change your life. Because ultimately there's no perfect product, and there's no product that fits everybody's needs. But I do think that this is something that will fit a lot of people's needs, and it's something that's pretty cool. Again, there's always room for improvement, so they may, in a few years release an updated version of this that'll be better, that'll address more of the problems. But, I think even now it's a pretty good point to jump in if you're looking for a portable and immersive experience for your phone, if you have an Android phone or something that supports USB-C. Otherwise, you're going to have to use the Apple adapter into the Nreal adapter if you have an iPhone. If you have an iPad, it'll work straight out of the box. For Windows computers, I've shown that off in my answering your questions video, but Windows computers, as long as your USB-C port is able to output display, like it's a Thunderbolt port or something like that, you should be just fine. MacBooks, right there I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro from 2021, so that one works. Like I said, the Steam Deck works perfectly. The Nintendo Switch, if you get the adapter from Nreal and plug in via HDMI, that will work. So there's a pretty wide compatibility range, but again, if you do have a device other than an Android device that runs the Nebula app, you will need to activate it using Nreal's tool, which again, I will leave the link to down in the description. Alright, but with that, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it to be useful and to give you a little bit more information and a little bit more clarity on what this device is, who it's for, and how it might benefit you. So like I said, if you would like to purchase any of the things that I've shown in this video, I will have them in the description below. But I thank you for watching this video, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.